Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to Closetista. I'm Laura Wasson. We're here with Danielle Guercio of Deschain. Very excited to have her back. If you have a question for Danielle, you can of course tweet us at Closetista TV. We'll be checking throughout the broadcast. Don't forget to sign up, like us on Facebook, get our newsletter. You never know what kind of discounts and special prizes we might have in store. Of course, you might recognize Danielle from her Style Gun Social Challenge. We're very excited to have her back and to actually show you all of the many different kinds of things that she makes, because they're just super cool. I'm very excited to talk about them. So the first piece I want to talk about is this particular Band-Aid tote. It's $100, and it looks kind of small like this, and you open it up and it's humongous. It is reversible too, with denim and drug rug. Very cool belt handle. Tell us about this tote and the shape and the idea of it being reversible.
Well, the Band-Aid tote is one of my most used patterns because it is one of the most versatile. It's a large bag, which every girl's got to have a large bag in her closet. But it also collapses, so it allows you to really carry tons of stuff or very little. So the Band-Aid is something I came up with to allow a lot of variation in the bags. And in this particular case, we don't have a flap, we don't have a top, we just have a very large open tote that is good for carrying nearly anything, including my dog.
Their chic dog tote, I have to say. And it does have the little kangaroo pocket on the front from the poncho. So I guess this was a poncho at one point, right?
Yes, that is one of our signature moves, is to chop up the drug rug ponchos and different things that we find and put them on a bag. And this particular one, I wanted to really show off exactly what it is by leaving the original kangaroo pocket.
No, it's really great. And again, so versatile. It looks kind of small, and then you open it and it's humongous and reversible too. So you want to have the denim, it's very easy to do that.
And of course, one of our other trademarks is the vintage belt handles.
Yes, which is such a great use of belts too. They make really nice handles. It's a nice thick, you can grab it, you can throw it on your shoulder and kind of take it wherever you go. The next Band-Aid tote is this one, which is made mostly of denim, and of course we have these beautiful, beautiful tooled leather belts, so much detail. There's eagles, woodland scenes. It's very Western and very cool. This guy is $200, and it comes with this awesome fringe, of course, and a hair calf flap. And this is kind of a motif that comes up in your work a lot, the hair calf flap element. Tell us about that.
One of the reasons I use hair on calf as a material is because it's something that you would think is very expensive and very hard to find, or just more of an exclusive product, but because it is so hard to work with, and it is actually so hard to make for a leather tanner, it's available secondhand all the time, more often than almost anything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because it's very easy for a tanner to make a mistake and damage it so that it wouldn't be A quality. And really the only thing that makes a leather A quality or double A quality is if there's very little imperfections. But as we know, imperfections are something I embrace in my design.
Yes.
And especially when you're using the raw edge, you really get a feel for the texture of the piece as opposed to just a boring flat piece of leather. Yeah. So this has a lot of personality to it.
It does have a lot of personality, and again, it has that huge shape. You can put your puppy in here, or books, or your computer. You can collapse it, make it a little smaller. It's just such a versatile shape. It's perfect just kind of for schlepping your stuff around town, and in the city, of course, you have to do that. The next piece I want to talk about is this gorgeous LSD scarf. It is super long. I actually don't think we can fit it completely in the frame. As you can see, it's a really big scarf. It's an infinity scarf. It's $90, and it uses this really great vintage yarn in all these different colors. So I have to ask, LSD, where did that come from?
Well, as you can see, there's blue on the top, and then it melts down to blue again on the bottom, where it is literally melting off in some places.
Melting off.
And that's how I came up with the title LSD, because, I mean, I personally have never done it, but supposedly the walls melt, and I was suffering from a case of cabin fever when I made this, as you can tell by its sheer size. So I came up with a funny name, also because I like to play around with the you know, drug rug theme, the
Right.
motif of the hippie look, but almost the more punk rock version of the hippie.
I don't know. I think that's such a good way of putting it, because this is just
Trippy.
it's a little trippy, and it's not hippie, it's a little rock.
Yeah.
It's more rock than hippie, I think.
This is extremely warm too. I wore it one time when I was
warm is
trying it
good.
out, and it was just so cuddly and awesome. And this looks good on a lot of different girls, because I'd love to put it on my girlfriends. Ebony, I see you. And she really, really wanted this scarf, but she knows it's still available.
And she better buy it.
She's just like a very edgy girl with tons of accessories and different things. And then I had also put it on my other friend, who is just really simple, and she wears like blazers all the time, and it looked great on both of them. So that's one thing I pride myself on. Is
good.
At first look, my stuff might look like it's just so off the wall, but you can put them on so many different people and really see a melding of whatever their style is
Right.
with whatever my style is.
No, I think that's really great, and that's a good point. And I do want to mention, all of these pieces are one of a kind,
Yes.
which makes them even more special. You really, literally will not find anybody else wearing the LSD scarf or the drug rug Band-Aid tote. It's truly one of a kind, and it just makes it that much cooler. The next piece I want to talk about is the twisted infinity scarf, which I am wearing in cream. This one is in this really great bright salmon color. It's only $22, and it's such an easy piece to just kind of throw on, toss on, and who doesn't love a nice little scarf?
Yeah, these are my way of using some really interesting scraps that I had found, or remnants of different fabrics. I mean, where are you really going to see a ribbed cotton poly blend in this color ever again? It's just, but I can't really use jersey knit for bags, because
Right.
it's a little too drapey. Knit doesn't tend to hold weight as well as other materials. And scarves are something that everybody loves.
Absolutely.
And they're just like a really, as you can see, really affordable little thing. So it's my way of being like, you know, maybe you can't afford this right now, but you know, you can always afford a little scarf. Or
And this color is so great too.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting pinky orange.
yeah,
which is
that's
really
why I called it
nice.
salmon, because that's
Looks
the
like
only way to describe
locks.
it.
Delicious locks. I do want to ask where the name Deschain came from.
Well, if you remember our video from Style Gone Social, we had kind of touched on it a little bit. Deschain is the name of one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite books. And when I was like combing over ideas to come up with a name for my line, I just was so lost. I really didn't know what to call it. There's so many ideas, and then there's just, my vision is so broad, but then also so, you know, pinpoint, specific. So it was really difficult to come up with a name, but if you're familiar with The Dark Tower, which are some of my favorite books,
Stephen King.
Roland Deschain is one of the most epic characters, because he encompasses every emotion at some point in the series, and he goes from father figure to, you know, a lover figure in one of the books too, but he's just always trying to save the world, and that is something I do relate to. I guess through fashion. I do feel like I make a difference ecologically and politically with my stuff. So I kind of went with that, because it's not a name you hear every day.
No, it's true.
And it evokes like an old kind of thought to it. You think, where does this come from? What is this? So that's where I came up with Deschain.
Heroic fashions, which is wonderful. The last piece I want to talk about is, I think, my favorite. It's the Mad Maxi, really super big fanny pack. And you can wear this as a fanny pack too, which is crazy and so cool.
If you like to ride your bike, it's perfect.
Because it has a belt. Of course, if you don't want to wear it as a fanny pack, you can throw it over your shoulder, and it's kind of like a hobo bag. But there's so many different kinds of fabric on here. You have the denim, you have the elk skin flaps, which are really great. You have the Gibbler print floral, and it just kind of is such an interesting patchwork of different materials. Tell us about this bag and the oversized fanny pack in general, I guess.
Well, fanny packs, you think bright colors, funky patterns, you think 80s, 90s, you think just vintage, which is something I already strive to kind of invoke a vintage look to my things. A lot of the fanny packs I did in the small size, which were very, very, very popular. were denim on one side, because that was a very common scrap that I had, and floral on the other. And they just gave you a versatile look, whether you wanted to have the denim on the outside or the floral on the other side. You could really play up your outfit with either side. So when I did a couple of the bigger ones, I decided, you know, obviously I'm going to incorporate leather and fringe, because that is something on the bigger bags that's always a hit. But I'm going to try and play around with the floral and denim. And so since I had these, I mean, this colored denim is from a pair of jeans that was probably like a size 27.
Wow.
So it was big enough to allow me to actually cut the pattern from. So,
and there's a nifty little pocket.
It's hidden under the flaps. But what makes this bag so different is that you can have the fringe on both sides. You can have the fringe on one side. So it really gives you versatility, and if you don't want to expose the fringe at all, you can just pop it over to the other side. Or if you want to see it all, you can see it like that.
It's such a versatile bag, and I think at first glance you might not really know what to do with it, but you can really style it to your own.
Yeah, and the floral is jersey, but it's a thicker jersey, so it's almost like a sweatshirt material. And the reason I love this floral so much is because it's gray in the background, and it's just got these rich pinks and khaki colors to it, so it really goes well with this leather. At first glance you're like, whoa, what is that floral, whoa, whoa, whoa. But then you notice that it actually matches really, really well with the muted colors.
It does. It's nice.
So that's something I like to do, is
cloying floral.
Uncommon. Yeah.
Yes, and that's really
But
great.
it almost is. It just, I like to take it out of context. So when you saw what it came from, you would definitely giggle, because it was this
Can we ask what it
really
was?
large, really large, long sleeve dress.
Wow.
A dress.
70s, 60s?
I don't even know when it came from, because it's so, I mean, it had a union made tag in it, which I love when I find stuff with union made tags, because that means it was probably made in a factory in or around the tri-state area, if that's where it came from. And that means that somebody like me made it whenever they made it. You know, and that was a time when people could make a living doing what they loved. It was a different time. Now, most of our factory work in the American fashion industry is done overseas.
Right.
And that is something that people don't usually address. So a union-made garment, now chopped and screwed, as I like to say, but it was literally a floor-length dress, and it was so cheesy, and you know, but I turned it into a little belly top and have been using the rest on some bags, and it really looks great out of context.
That's a great find.
Yeah.
And a good eye for being able to repurpose things that might at first glance seem very passe.
Well, when I come home with this bag of stuff, whenever I go on a mission, my mom is the number one, like, what is that? She always makes fun of everything that I pick it out. And then when she sees the finished products, or in my case, sometimes I tailor things to wear that were obscenely oversized, or she's always like, every time you surprise me, because that was the most ugly thing I've ever seen, and now it looks so beautiful and different. And that's what I like to do, take stuff that's literally garbage and make it into something different.
Well, I have to say, you do a great job with that. Everything has so much personality and so much life, and again, one-of-a-kind pieces, really true personality. Thank you so much for being here. We've had such a great time with you and learning all different kinds of things about union-made fabrics and repurposing ugly dresses and whatnot. Her collection is available right now, so go shop. All of it's there. More that we couldn't even cover in the broadcast, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
And there's a few custom options too.
Yes, as well.